Hey you, pizza fan. Have you ever taken a bite of a slice and wondered why one feels like a quick handheld snack, while another is basically a full-on hearty meal loaded with layers that demand a knife and fork? The truth is, pizza has exploded into dozens of wild regional styles around the world, each with its own backstory, texture secrets, and flavor punches that'll make your next order way more exciting. Today, we're breaking down every major type of pizza explained, straight from the originals in Italy to crazy fusions in Korea and beyond. I'm talking history that hits you in the feels, sensory details that'll make your mouth water, surprising twists you never saw coming, how they play out in Western culture, and super practical tips so you can hunt them down at your local spot or whip them up at home like a total boss. Stick with me, and by the end of this, you'll be the pizza expert your friends text for advice. Let's jump right in. First up, the absolute legend that started modern pizza as we know it, Neapolitan pizza. You've been eating the world's original pie all wrong for years. Neapolitan pizza kicked off in the 1700s when bakers right in Naples began slapping tomatoes, those brand new imports from the Americas, onto simple flatbreads. It turned into the ultimate cheap, filling meal for poor sailors and dock workers who needed something fast and satisfying after a long day. The most famous version is the margherita, which some say was whipped up in 1889 specifically to honor Queen Margherita of Italy, with red tomatoes, white mozzarella, and green basil mirroring the colors of the Italian flag perfectly. And get this, it now carries protected status from the EU and other organizations, so only pies made under super strict rules can officially wear the Neapolitan name. Take a massive bite, and you'll experience that soft, slightly chewy center giving way to a puffy, lightly charred edge with a bold tomato tang up front, creamy mozzarella that stretches like crazy, and fresh basil popping with herbal brightness. The whole thing melts instantly on your tongue with a velvety finish that feels light yet totally satisfying. Here's a surprising twist. Even though it looks super simple and basic, the truth is actually the opposite. Those strict protected rules mean you can't just throw anything on it or call it Neapolitan, or the purists will come after you. The drama is pure underdog gold. Back in those 1700s days, tomatoes were still an exotic new arrival, and these humble bakers turned basic bread into street food that literally fed the working class during tough economic times in Naples. Talk about food saving the day. While most Americans still pile on every topping imaginable and love super-loaded pies from chains, in Europe they keep it minimalist to let the dough and fresh ingredients shine. Exactly like the old-school Naples way. For you in the West hunting the real deal, check Whole Foods or your local Italian market for San Marzano tomatoes and fresh mozzarella. Super easy to recreate at home on a screaming hot pizza stone or outdoor grill. Beginners, keep toppings light so the crust steals the show, and pair it with a crisp Italian white wine for that authentic restaurant vibe without leaving your kitchen. Next, New York-style pizza. The surprising truth about why your foldable slice rules the streets. When the first pizzeria in the United States opened in New York by Italian immigrant Yarrow Lombardi, he quickly realized busy New Yorkers wanted pizza they could grab and eat on the go. So he created a thinner, bigger, and way more foldable version of the Neapolitan classic. Those pies laid the groundwork for the famous New York style you see everywhere today, featuring a thick and crisp crust along the edges, but soft enough underneath the toppings to let you do that perfect New York fold without everything sliding off. Sink your teeth in, and you get that satisfying crunch from the crispy rim, giving way to a tender, chewy base loaded with tangy sauce and gooey cheese that stretches for miles. It's bold, savory, and totally portable, with a rich tomato punch followed by a silky melt that coats your tongue. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, what started as a quick adaptation for busy city life actually became one of America's most iconic comfort foods, even though it's basically a dressed-up version of the original Italian pie. The short drama hits hard. Immigrant bakers in early 20th century New York turned family recipes into something practical for the fast-paced American dream, feeding generations of workers who needed fuel without slowing down. While Europeans often stick to smaller, sit-down Neapolitan pies in cozy restaurants, Americans made this style explode globally through busy streets and late-night slices, perfect for that on-the-go lifestyle in places like California or the UK. Tip for you Western pizza lovers. At Costco or Tesco, grab pre-made dough and sauce to fold your own at home. Just stretch it thin and bake hot. Order it by the slice at any NYC-style spot, and for beginners or keto fans, go light on sauce so it stays crisp. Pair with a cold beer for the ultimate street food experience. Moving on to Roman pizza. You'd never guess how different this Italian style really is from its Neapolitan cousin. Unlike Neapolitan pizza, Roman pizza isn't officially recognized by international food organizations and doesn't have one strictly agreed-upon definition. But typical versions come in rectangular slices with a thicker base. Another popular variation is the round Roman pizza with a thin base, usually served at sit-down restaurants, and it's crispier overall than the soft Neapolitan original. You bite into it and get that satisfying thicker chew with a bold, toasty crunch on the bottom, topped with savory sauce and cheese that gives a rich, caramelized finish. It's hearty yet light, with crispy edges that snap perfectly against velvety toppings. Here's a surprising twist. The secret most people don't know is that while it looks casual, Roman pizza actually lets chefs get super creative without rigid rules, turning it into a blank canvas for regional Italian flavors. The history drama is full of passion. It evolved in Rome as locals wanted something heartier than Naples' soft pies, becoming a staple for everyday meals without the same international red tape. In Western culture, most Americans still chase the foldable New York vibe or deep dish indulgence. But Europeans love this crispier, no-fuss style for quick lunches or casual dinners across Italy and beyond. Practical tip for you. Hunt it at your local European deli, or make it rectangular at home using a sheet pan for that thick base. Easy for beginners. Pair with a light red wine, and keto fans can skip extra sauce for lower carbs while keeping the crisp. Now, let's talk Chicago deep dish. The shocking reason this pie feels more like dinner than a snack. Chicago deep dish was invented in the 1940s at Pizzeria Uno in Chicago. It's baked almost like a cake in a deep round pan, giving it tall, buttery crust walls that hold massive layers of cheese, meats, and sauce. The whole thing was designed to feel like a hearty meal instead of a quick bite. First bite explodes with that buttery, flaky crust hugging gooey cheese and rich tomato layers. It's thick, comforting, and melts slowly on your tongue with a bold, savory depth that warms you from the inside out. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, some pizza purists call it more of a casserole than real pizza, even though locals absolutely love how filling it is. The drama goes back to those 1940s Chicago kitchens where creators wanted something substantial for Midwestern appetites during post-war times. Pure comfort food innovation. While most Europeans prefer thin, light pies for everyday eating, Americans in places like California or the UK go wild for this over-the-top style when they want a serious sit-down feast. For you at home, grab a deep pan from Whole Foods and layer cheese first, then sauce. super beginner-friendly and great for groups. Pair with a bold red wine, or try it low-carb by focusing on the veggie toppings inside. Next, Colorado-style pizza, also called mountain pie. You won't believe what they dip the crust in after the cheese is gone. Colorado pizza features a thick, braided crust topped with heavy amounts of sauce and cheese. It's often served by the pound with a side of honey, because after you finish the cheesy part, people treat the leftover crust like a dessert breadstick and dip it straight in honey. That first bite delivers a sturdy, braided crunch, giving way to rich, cheesy sauce layers. Sweet, savory balance with a toasty finish that transitions perfectly into the honey-dipped sweetness at the end. Here's a surprising twist. The truth is actually the opposite of what you'd expect. This pizza is built for 2 courses in one, turning the crust from savory to dessert without any extra effort. The short history is fun and local. It popped up in Colorado as a mountain town favorite that fed big appetites with simple, shareable pies. In Western culture, while East Coast Americans fold thin slices, folks in the Midwest and West love this heavier, honey-dipped twist for casual mountain getaways or family nights. Tip time. Look for it at regional spots or recreate at home with braided dough from your grocery store. Drizzle honey at the end. Perfect for keto fans if you go light on the honey dip, and pairs amazingly with a cold craft beer. Now Turkish pizza, known locally as Lahmacun, the mind-blowing flatbread that's called pizza abroad, but never at home. Turkish pizza is a thin, round flatbread topped with a spiced mixture of minced meat, tomatoes, onions, garlic, herbs, and chili flakes. Unlike Italian pizza, it skips cheese and thick crust completely. It's closer to a wrap than a slice, but still called pizza when it travels overseas. Locals would never call it pizza back home. You roll it up and get that ultra-thin crisp, giving way to bold, spicy meat with tingly chili heat, fresh herb brightness, and juicy tomato notes that burst in every bite. No cheese means the flavors hit you clean and direct. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, what the world calls Turkish pizza is basically street food in Turkey, far from any Italian roots, yet it conquered global menus anyway. The drama traces back to traditional Turkish flatbreads adapted with bold spices for quick meals in bustling markets. Pure cultural fusion born from everyday life. While Americans load up on cheese-heavy pies, Europeans enjoy this lighter, wrap-style version as a healthier grab-and-go option in cities like London or Berlin. For you Westerners, order it at Mediterranean spots or make it at home with store-bought flatbreads and spiced lamb. Super fast for beginners. Add chili flakes for extra kick and pair with a yogurt drink for that authentic balance. Then we have Paneer Tikka pizza, the fusion pie that turned Indian street flavors into a global hit. Paneer Tikka pizza is an Indian-Italian fusion that combines classic Italian pizza with paneer tikka, a popular North Indian dish. It features cubes of paneer marinated in spiced yogurt and grilled tikka style, then placed on a pizza base with mozzarella cheese and a spicy tomato sauce. This style blew up in the 2000s, when global pizza chains in India started adapting menus for local tastes. Today, it's one of the country's most popular vegetarian pizzas, often finished with mint chutney or chili flakes for an extra kick. Bite in and you get creamy, spiced paneer cubes with a tingly yogurt tang, melting into stretchy mozzarella and bold tomato heat. Velvety smooth, with crispy grilled edges and a fresh mint finish that dances on your tongue. Here's a surprising twist. You'd never guess that what started as a menu tweak for Indian customers now ranks as a top veggie option worldwide, flipping traditional pizza rules on their head. The history drama is modern and exciting. It exploded in the 2000s as chains mixed cultures to win over local palates during India's pizza boom. In the West, While most Americans stick to pepperoni, Europeans and Californians love this fusion for its bold spices and vegetarian appeal at trendy spots. Practical tip: find it at Indian-Italian restaurants or make it at home with paneer from Whole Foods. Marinate and grill first for best results. Beginners, finish with chutney for that kick, and it pairs perfectly with a mango lassi or light beer. Finally for this half, Detroit-style pizza. The upside-down pie that came straight from auto factory pans. Detroit-style pizza was created in the 1940s at Buddy's Rendezvous in Detroit. Baked in rectangular blue steel pans originally borrowed from auto factories, it features a thick, airy crust with crispy edges. The pizza is topped upside down with mozzarella placed directly on the dough so it melts to the edges and creates a caramelized crust. Tomato sauce gets added on top after baking. That first slice hits you with airy, thick chew, and those caramelized, cheesy edges giving a bold, toasty crunch, followed by rich sauce on top that soaks in perfectly. It's hearty, cheesy, and totally addictive. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, the upside-down method was born from necessity with factory pans, yet it created one of the most crave-worthy crusts in pizza history. The drama is pure Detroit grit. 1940s auto workers turned borrowed pans into a signature style that fed the city during its industrial heyday. While New Yorkers fold thin pies, Midwestern and West Coast Americans embrace this thick, cheesy beast for game nights or big gatherings. Tip for you: grab a rectangular pan from any kitchen store and bake cheese first at home. Foolproof for beginners. Order it at Detroit-style chains and pair with a hoppy IPA to cut through the richness. Welcome back, Pizza Squad. We just wrapped up that upside-down Detroit legend, but trust me, the world's pizza map has way more surprises waiting. From rustic Spanish flatbreads to wild fusions that flip everything you think you know about pie, these next styles are going to change how you order, bake, and devour pizza forever. You're about to become the friend who drops the coolest facts at every slice night. Let's roll. Catalan coca, Spain's secret rustic flatbread that's basically pizza without all the rules. Coca is often called Spain's version of pizza, but it's a rustic flatbread that comes in both savory and sweet varieties. The most pizza-like version, coca capta, comes from Catalonia and is topped with roasted vegetables like eggplant, peppers, and onions, sometimes with anchovies or sausage. It's baked in a wood-fired oven on an olive oil-rich dough, making it thin and slightly crispy. Coca was once a peasant dish made with simple local ingredients, but today it's known as a regional specialty across Spain. Bite in and you get that thin, golden crust soaked in fruity olive oil, tender charred veggies bursting with smoky sweetness, salty anchovy punches or hearty sausage. It finishes crisp outside, but tender and silky inside, with a light, fresh finish that feels like a Mediterranean vacation on bread. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, what looks like a fancy modern flatbread was actually born as humble peasant food using whatever the garden gave that day. The drama hits you right in the feels. Farmers and villagers in Catalonia whipped it up with basic local stuff to feed the family, and now it's celebrated as a true Spanish treasure, loved by everyone from street markets to fine tables. While most Americans still pile mountains of cheese and meat on their pies, in Europe they keep it lighter and veggie-forward, so the olive oil and fresh produce can shine bright. For you Western pizza hunters, hunt it down at Spanish tapas spots, or recreate it super easy at home on a hot baking sheet with generous olive oil and market veggies from Whole Foods or Tesco. Beginners love how forgiving the dough is. Keto fans can load extra veg and skip bread overload, and it pairs perfectly with a crisp Spanish white wine for that authentic vibe. Next, St. Louis style. The cracker-thin, party-cut pie that changed how America shares pizza forever. St. Louis pizza is topped with Provel cheese instead of mozzarella and has a cracker-thin, unleavened crust. It's cut into square slices, often called party cut or tavern cut. The style was popularized in the 60s by the regional chain Imo's Pizza. You snap into that ultra-thin cracker crust with a bold, nutty Provel melt that's smooth yet slightly smoky, tangy sauce underneath. It's light, crunchy, and disappears fast with a rich, toasty finish that begs for another square. Here's a surprising twist. The secret most people don't know is that Provel is a special 3-cheese blend invented just for St. Louis, giving it a melt and flavor you literally can't copy anywhere else. The short history drama is pure Midwest magic. In the 1960s, local taverns wanted easy-to-share food that paired with cold beer, and Imo's turned it into a true regional icon that's still going strong. While East Coast Americans fold big floppy slices, folks in the Midwest and beyond love this thin, square-cut style for casual parties and game nights, where everyone grabs a piece without the mess. Practical tip for you? Source Provel at specialty grocers, or mix Swiss, provolone, and cheddar yourself, then bake thin and cut squares at home. Super beginner-friendly, great for low carb if you go light on sauce, and it pairs like a dream with an ice-cold lager. Greek pizza. The thick, chewy, pan-baked pie that Greek immigrants gifted to America. Greek pizza was created by Greek immigrants in the United States during the 1950s. It's baked in shallow, oiled pans, which gives the crust a thick, soft, and chewy texture with a slightly fried bottom. Unlike thinner styles, the dough is puffy with high edges, and it's topped with mozzarella cheese and oregano-heavy tomato sauce. This style became especially popular in New England, where Greek-owned pizzerias made it a local favorite. Sink your teeth in, and you get that soft, pillowy chew with a crispy fried underside, loaded with herby oregano tomato sauce and gooey mozzarella. Rich, comforting, and full of bold, aromatic flavor that lingers on your tongue. Here's a surprising twist. You'd never guess that what started as an immigrant family tweak is now a beloved New England staple that feels completely American. The drama is classic success story. Greek pizzeria owners in the 1950s created this heartier style to win over American customers while keeping their own pan-baking tricks alive. While Italians keep things thin and light, Americans in New England and the Northeast go crazy for this thicker, chewier version when they want serious comfort. Tip for you. Look for Greek-owned spots near you or recreated at home in a shallow oiled pan from Costco. Beginners, don't skimp on the oregano. It pairs amazingly with a Greek salad on the side for the full experience. California-style pizza. The fresh, gourmet West Coast pie that turned pizza into California cuisine. California-style pizza combines New York and Italian thin crust with toppings inspired by California cuisine. It's known for fresh ingredients like goat cheese, arugula, smoked salmon, or barbecue chicken. This style started in the late 1970s with chefs like Wolfgang Puck, and later spread nationwide through chains like California Pizza Kitchen. First bite hits you with a thin, crispy crust carrying bright, fresh toppings. Creamy, tangy goat cheese, peppery arugula, smoky salmon, or sweet barbecue chicken, creating a light yet complex explosion that feels gourmet and totally vibrant. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, this fancy gourmet style actually came from California's farm-to-table obsession and helped make creative pizzas mainstream everywhere. The history drama is pure innovation. Late 1970s chefs mixed local fresh produce with classic dough and blew up the pizza scene. In Western culture, while traditionalists stick to pepperoni, Californians and foodies from coast to coast love these inventive combos for lighter, upscale dinners. For you at home, Grab fresh arugula and goat cheese from Whole Foods and bake thin. Keto fans can choose low-carb toppings easily. Order it at California Pizza Kitchen and pair with a chilled rosé for that sunny California feel. Philadelphia tomato pie. The bakery-style slice. Eaten cold that skips cheese completely. Philadelphia tomato pie is a bakery-style pizza with a thick, focaccia-like crust topped with a sweet tomato sauce and a sprinkle of grated Romano cheese. It's made without mozzarella and is often eaten at room temperature. The style evolved from the Italian focaccia brought to Philadelphia by Italian immigrants in the early 1900s. You taste that soft, thick, bread-like crust soaked in sweet tomato sauce with salty Romano. Simple, comforting, and surprisingly addictive with a bold tomato punch and no cheese stretch. Here's a surprising twist. The truth is actually the opposite of cheesy New York slices. This one skips mozzarella entirely, yet still delivers huge flavor that people crave cold the next day. The drama goes back to early 1900s Italian immigrants adapting their focaccia into this unique Philly treat. While most Americans expect stretchy cheese on everything, East Coast locals enjoy this room-temp, sauce-forward style as a quick snack or side. Tip time. Find it at Philly bakeries or bake a focaccia base at home topped with thick sweet sauce from Tesco. Super easy for beginners and perfect cold the next day. Pair with a soda for that classic street vibe. Pizza cones. The modern cone that makes pizza truly portable and fun. Pizza cones are a modern twist where the dough is shaped into a cone, baked and filled with sauce, cheese, and toppings. They were designed for portability and became popular in the 2000s, though earlier recipes for pizza cones dating back to the 1980s have also been found. Crunch the crispy cone exterior, and you get gooey cheese, tangy sauce, and all your favorite toppings perfectly contained. Melty, bold, and zero mess while you walk. Here's a surprising twist. You'd never guess that this Instagram-ready street food actually has recipes going all the way back to the 1980s. The history is pure fun innovation, created so busy people could enjoy pizza without plates or drips. Western fans love grabbing them at fairs, food trucks, or parties because it's way more playful than a regular slice. For you, buy cone molds online or order at creative pizzerias. Great party idea for beginners and kids, and keto versions work with low-carb fillings. Altoona-style pizza. The thick Sicilian-style pie with deli salami and American cheese that survived a fire. Altoona-style pizza was created in the city of Altoona, Pennsylvania, by the Altoona Hotel. This regional style features a thick Sicilian-type dough with tomato sauce, deli-style salami, slices of green bell pepper, and a layer of melted American cheese. The Altoona Hotel burned down in 2013, but the style was carried on by local pizzerias. You bite into the thick, soft crust and get savory salami, sweet peppers, and melty American cheese all layered together. Rich, comforting, and full of that classic deli flavor punch. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, even after the original hotel burned down, locals kept the recipe alive so the style never disappeared. The drama is pure resilience. Born at the Altoona Hotel, it survived a fire and lives on through neighborhood pizzerias. While most Americans chase big chain styles, Pennsylvania locals cherish this hearty, unique combo for family dinners. Tip: find it at local Pennsylvania spots or recreate at home with thick dough and deli salami from Costco. Beginners love how straightforward it is, and it pairs great with a cold soda. Sicilian. The thick, rectangular pie that changes by province, but always delivers. Traditional Sicilian pizza is often thick-crusted and rectangular, but can also be round and similar to Neapolitan pizza. Each province in Sicily has its own way of preparing it, but the most common variety is sfincione, which originated in Palermo. In the U.S., the Sicilian style evolved to include a thicker crust and heavier layers of mozzarella. That first massive square gives you airy, thick chew, bold tomato sauce, and loads of melty mozzarella. Hearty, satisfying, and full of that classic Sicilian depth. Here's a surprising twist. The secret most people don't know is that U.S. versions got even thicker and cheesier than the original to match American appetites. The history drama is regional pride. Each Sicilian province has its own twist, with sfincione from Palermo becoming the most famous. In Western culture, Americans love the thick, cheesy version, while Italians keep some lighter. For you, order Sicilian at your local Italian spot, or bake thick at home. Perfect for sharing, and keto if you focus on toppings. New Haven pizza, the coal-fired thin pie that food critics can't stop raving about. New Haven-style pizza was created in the 1920s in Connecticut. It's a thin-crust, coal-fired variation of Neapolitan pizza that became a signature of pizzerias around New Haven. This style has been highly praised by national food critics and has also gained popularity in the United Kingdom. You get that charred, thin crisp with bright tomato and gooey cheese. Light, smoky, and totally addictive with a perfect char edge. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, what started in a small Connecticut city is now internationally loved and even praised by top critics. The drama is pure local legend. 1920s Italian bakers fired up coal ovens and created a New England icon. While New Yorkers fold, New Haven fans and UK lovers praise the char. Tip: seek coal-fired spots or use a grill at home for that char. Beginner-friendly and pairs with craft beer. Argentinian fugazza, the thick focaccia-style pie topped with onions that feels like Italy met Argentina. Fugazza is a popular type of Argentinian pizza that originated in Buenos Aires. It combines Neapolitan pizza with Italian focaccia bread, featuring a thick focaccia-like crust topped with onions, oregano, and sometimes olives. Some versions also include mozzarella, either on top or stuffed between two layers of dough. Bite in, and you taste thick, soft bread with sweet caramelized onions, oregano punch, and melty mozzarella. Comforting and full of that Italian Argentinian soul. Here's a surprising twist. You'd never guess that onions are the star here instead of tomato sauce in many versions. The history is immigrant fusion. Italian settlers in Buenos Aires mixed traditions into this hearty favorite. Western fans love it as a carb-loaded comfort pie. Make it at home with thick dough and onions, great for groups. Tarte flambée, the flame cake. From the French-German border that's not pizza but tastes like it. Tarte flambée, or Flammkuchen as it's called in Alsace, is a thin-crust flatbread from the French-German border region. It's made with an ultra-thin dough topped with crème fraîche, thinly sliced onions, and smoky bacon. The name translates to flame cake because it was originally used by farmers to test if their wood-fired bread ovens were hot enough. It dates back to at least the 16th century, but didn't become a restaurant staple until the 1960s. Unlike pizza, it has no tomato sauce or mozzarella, just cream, onion, and bacon on a cracker-thin crust. You get that cracker-crisp crust with creamy, tangy crème fraîche, sweet onions, and smoky bacon. Rich, savory, and finishes with a light, tingly bite. Here's a surprising twist. The truth is actually the opposite. Farmers used it to test ovens centuries ago, yet now it's a fancy restaurant favorite. The drama goes back to 16th-century farmers testing ovens, exploding in popularity in the 1960s. Europeans love it as a lighter alternative to heavy pizza. Tip: order at Alsatian restaurants or bake thin at home with crème fraîche. Keto-friendly with extra bacon. Brazilian pizza. The wild, topping-loaded pie. From the city with more pizzerias than anywhere else. São Paulo has more pizzerias than any city in the world outside of New York. And Brazilians have developed their own wild style. Portuguese pizza features ham, hard-boiled eggs, green peas, onions, olives, and sometimes potatoes, all on the same pie. Hearts of palm, catupiry, Brazilian cream cheese, and guava paste are common toppings. The crust tends to be thicker, almost like pan pizza to support all those ingredients. Every neighborhood pizzeria has its own signature combinations, and there are virtually no rules about what can go on top. That first slice is a flavor explosion. Salty ham, creamy eggs, sweet peas, tangy olives, and gooey catupiry all on a thick crust. Chaotic, comforting, and totally addictive. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, Brazilians load everything on one pie, and it somehow works perfectly. The history is pure creativity. São Paulo's massive pizzeria scene created endless combos for local tastes. Westerners are shocked, but love the fun chaos. Tip: try at Brazilian spots or experiment at home. Beginners can start simple and pair with Brazilian beer. Quad City style. The nutty sweet crust with spicy sauce that's cut with scissors. Quad City style pizza from the Iowa border along the Mississippi River has malt syrup in its crust, giving it a toasted nutty sweetness unlike any other pizza. The sauce is spicy, with cayenne pepper and red chili flakes, and the toppings go under the cheese, not on top. The sausage is lean, fennel-heavy, and spread edge to edge. It's cut into strips with scissors, and the style traces back to the 1950s when Italian immigrant brothers Frank and Tony Maniscalco brought their recipe to the region. You taste that toasted nutty crust, spicy sauce kick, fennel sausage, and melty cheese. Sweet, hot, and unique in every strip. Here's a surprising twist. The secret most people don't know is the malt syrup in the crust that makes it taste like dessert bread with savory toppings. Drama. 1950s Italian brothers brought the recipe and made it a Midwest staple. Western fans loved the scissors-cut strips for sharing. Tip: source malt syrup and bake at home. Pairs with cold beer. Ohio Valley pizza. The cold cheese on hot crust that gives you a crazy texture contrast. In Ohio Valley towns like Steubenville, pizza comes with cold cheese on top. The pie comes out of the oven with just tomato sauce on a crispy cracker-like crust. Then, it gets buried under a mountain of cold grated provolone and pepperoni. You get a unique sensation. Warm crust, cool toppings, and a completely different texture in every bite. The style started at DeCarlos in 1945 and has barely changed since. Warm, crispy crust meets cool cheese and pepperoni, crunchy, melty, and totally surprising in every bite. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, the cold cheese after baking creates the signature contrast that locals crave. History. Started at DeCarlos in 1945 and stayed the same for decades. Midwesterners love this unique temp play. Tip: recreate at home. Bake sauce first, then top cold. Beginner easy. Korean Bulgogi pizza. The sweet, savory beef pie with rice crust options that Korea made famous. When pizza arrived in Korea in the 1980s with American chains, locals immediately started experimenting. Bulgogi pizza, topped with the country's famous sweet and savory marinated beef, became a sensation. Over time, toppings like sweet potato mousse, corn, potato wedges, shrimp, crab, and even mayonnaise became common. Some chains even created rice crust pizzas, using crispy nurumji scorched rice as the base. Sweet bulgogi beef, creamy corn, and mayo drizzle on crispy crust. Bold Korean flavors meet pizza in the best way. Here's a surprising twist. You'd never guess that American chains sparked a whole new Korean pizza culture full of wild toppings. Drama. 1980s arrival led to instant local twists that took off. Western fans loved the fusion at Asian fusion spots. Tip: order at Korean pizza places or marinate bulgogi at home. Fun for beginners. Swedish pizza. The kebab and banana curry pie that's totally normal there. Sweden has one of the highest pizza consumption rates in the world. Kebab pizza, topped with doner-style meat, lettuce, and garlic sauce, is everywhere. And banana with curry sauce on pizza is completely normal. Some restaurants even serve a version inspired by stromboli, turning it into a calzone or pizza stuffed with hamburger meat and French fries. In 2019, a Swedish pizzeria went viral for putting kiwi on pizza, triggering international outrage. Kebab meat, garlic sauce, or sweet banana curry. Creamy, spicy, and totally addictive Swedish style. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, banana curry is every day there, while the world freaked out over kiwi. Drama. High consumption led to crazy local favorites. Europeans in Sweden embrace these wild combos. Tip: try at Swedish spots or experiment. Adventurous beginners only. Dayton-style pizza. The cornmeal-dusted thin pie cut into tiny squares. Dayton, Ohio developed its own pizza with a thin, crispy crust dusted with cornmeal on the bottom. The sauce is unsweetened and applied sparingly, while toppings go edge to edge with no outer crust rim visible. It's cut into bite-sized squares and tends to be more heavily topped than other thin crust styles. Marion's Pizza has been the standard-bearer since 1965. Crispy cornmeal crust, light sauce, heavy toppings in little squares, crunchy and loaded in every bite. Here's a surprising twist. The secret most people don't know is the cornmeal bottom that gives it a unique texture no other thin crust has. History. Marion's set the standard since 1965. Midwest locals love the square cuts. Tip: dust cornmeal at home. Easy and fun. Georgian khachapuri. The boat-shaped cheese bread that's basically pizza's Georgian cousin. Khachapuri is the national dish of Georgia. The most famous version, ajaruli khachapuri, is shaped like a boat, which represents Georgian sailors, filled with a bubbling mixture of melted cheese, then topped with a raw egg and a pat of butter just before serving. The egg represents the sun, and the cheese represents the sea. You eat it by tearing off pieces of the crusty bread edges and dipping them into the gooey cheese and egg center. Different regions of Georgia have their own variations. Pull apart the boat crust and dip into hot, cheesy egg, rich, buttery, and pure comfort. Here's a surprising twist. You'd never guess it's basically pizza's cheesy cousin with symbolic shapes. Drama. National dish with regional twists full of cultural meaning. Western foodies love it at Georgian restaurants. Tip: make boat shape at home. Impressive for beginners. Regina-style prairie pizza. The super thick, heavy pie, built for cold Canadian winters. This Canadian Regina or prairie-style pizza is famous for being extremely thick and heavy, often reaching 2 to 3 inches tall thanks to a dense crust and massive amounts of toppings layered under a thick blanket of cheese. The dough is closer to bread-style pizza dough rather than true biscuit dough, giving it a sturdy, filling base. The sauce is seasoned with Greek-influence flavors, reflecting the Greek immigrant roots of many Regina pizzerias. It's designed for cold prairie winters when you need serious fuel. Thick, dense crust holds massive toppings under cheese, hearty, filling, and perfect for big appetites. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, Greek flavors season the sauce in this Canadian classic. History. Greek immigrants created it for cold winters. Canadians love the fuel factor. Tip: order thick at Canadian spots or bake heavy at home. Milan style. The in-between crust that lets the dough shine. Milan has its own style that sits between Neapolitan and Roman. The crust is thicker than Roman, but thinner than Neapolitan, often enriched with milk and olive oil for added richness. Toppings tend to be minimal and regional. This lets the quality of the dough stand out. It sits between Italy's major pizza styles, not as rigid as Neapolitan and not as casual as Roman. Rich milk and oil crust with minimal toppings. The dough flavor steals the show with silky chew. Here's a surprising twist. The secret most people don't know is the milk in the dough that makes it extra tender. Drama. Milanese bakers created this balanced style. Europeans appreciate the minimalism. Tip: enrich dough with milk at home. Great for dough lovers. Aussie pizza. The breakfast on a pie with egg and bacon that feels like morning in Oz. The classic Aussie pizza usually starts with a standard pizza crust, topped with tomato or barbecue sauce and melted mozzarella. The defining toppings are crispy bacon, red onion, and 1 or more eggs cracked on top before baking, which cook into the pizza as it bakes. Some versions also include ham, and occasionally a drizzle of barbecue sauce for extra smokiness. This combination creates a bit of an Aussie breakfast vibe on a pizza, and is very popular across Australia. Egg cooks right into the pie with crispy bacon and smoky sauce. Breakfast meets dinner in the best way. Here's a surprising twist. You'd never guess eggs on pizza feel completely normal down under. Drama. Aussies made breakfast toppings pizza canon. Western fans love the fun twist. Tip: crack eggs on top before baking. Easy and fun. Pizza fritta. The deep-fried folded pie born from wartime scarcity that's still a Naples legend. Pizza fritta is a deep-fried Neapolitan pizza that emerged during World War II when ovens were destroyed and ingredients were scarce. Instead of baking, pizza fritta is fried, folded, or stuffed dough in hot oil, creating a crispy outside with a soft, airy interior. It was originally filled with simple ingredients like ricotta, tomatoes, or anchovies, making it cheap and filling street food. Today, pizza fritta is still sold in Naples, eaten hot and folded, and seen as a symbol of survival and improvisation during hard times. Crispy fried outside gives way to soft, airy inside, stuffed with ricotta and tomatoes. Hot, crunchy, and pure street food joy. Here's a surprising twist. Ironically, wartime necessity created one of Naples' most beloved treats that's still thriving. The drama is survival gold. World War II shortages turned frying into an art that fed people when ovens were gone. Neapolitans cherish it as a symbol of resilience. For you Westerners, look for fried pizza specials or carefully fry at home with simple fillings. Beginners, use store dough. It's a fun weekend project and pairs amazingly with cold beer. And that, my friends, is every major pizza style explained, from the strict originals to the wildest fusions on the planet. Next time you order or bake, you'll know exactly what you're getting into and why it tastes so damn good. Drop a comment with your favorite style, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep eating awesome.